David Heath graduated from A&M in 1976 with a degree in health and physical education. After he was a pioneer in athletic training at this school.
He was the first full-time trainer for both men's and women's sports in 1976. And we were absolutely, with Mr. Pickard and David's help, we became the conference leader in employing students to be our trainers and in teaching them how to be trainers. We've got student trainers all over the country that have gone through the program at Texas A&M, and largely because of David Heath.
After moving on, he spent 8 years at Adidas before joining Nike in 1990. There, he grew into the role of Vice President for U.S. Sales, and later, the Vice President for Global Sales, where he was responsible for $16 billion in revenue. Even with global influence, he never forgot Aggie Land.
His heart's always been at A&M. He has 2 sons that graduated from A&M. His wife Andy worked at A&M, and they are just an Aggie family. David bleeds maroon. His heart is here. That's why they moved back to College Station when they retired. And David has been president of the Letterman's Association, president of the Association of Former Students. He's been on boards on campus. They've been very generous donors on campus, and so he is truly an Aggie at heart.
Tonight, he receives the award for Lifetime Achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, David Heath.
Thank you. And howdy. What a fantastic night here in Kyle Field at the Hall of Champions. When I started here, and then when I went to work here full-time in '76, my office was somewhere in this vicinity, in that old yellow subway tile area. It was made of plywood. There was a window air conditioner that dripped on my desk, and it was 10 by 10, and I shared it with Billy Pickard. That was an interesting time. Congratulations to all the Hall of Fame inductees tonight, whose careers we all got to witness and enjoy, and especially to our Hall of Honor inductee, Steve Stevens, who I first met as a student. He is the epitome of a selfless servant. I also want to thank the Hall of Fame Committee and the great staff of the Letterman's Association, Kathy, Lindsay, Isabella, and Kingsley, for making this event so special. In the summer of 1976, after graduation and before I began my career as the first assistant athletic trainer, the best day of my life occurred. It was Juneteenth. I got to marry my soulmate and now bride of 42 years, Andrea. We spent our first 5 married years here after meeting as high school chemistry lab partners. Yes, we had a nice 14 by 80 mobile home down here at 2818 in Welborn Road. And I think I was making about $10,000 a year, working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it was a great job, and I learned so much. But along came our sons later, and Joel 05 with Stacy tonight, and Todd 07 and his wife Shalane, class of 12. And they're here, and we very much appreciate them, along with my siblings, Suzanne, Jimmy, and Robert, and their spouses, Larry and Linda. Robert's wife, Claudia, is ill and could not make the trip. But thank you to all who did make the trip. It's very special to me. Our parents made sure the 4 of us made it through college. And Jimmy and I followed Dad's path somewhat, as he started with the class of 39, but finished with the class of 41. You see, back then, there weren't these things called student loans. If you didn't have the money, you dropped out and worked and saved it till you could come back. And Dad was the first and only in his family to graduate from college. So he set a good benchmark for us. Mom graduated from TWU, the first in her family. Fittingly, they met at what we appropriately call a mixer on the core trip to Dallas. I think there's another name for it, but mixer is the term we use in mixed company. And I only heard my dad use it once. Anyway, As first-generation college students, our parents made sure we got our degrees. My career started right here in Old Kyle Field, G. Raleigh White, and the old baseball stadium. This is about where the center fielder would have played in that old stadium. It was right behind the second deck before we ever had a third deck. And I was the trainer, as Penny said, for all men's and women's sports until '79 when I was promoted to head athletic trainer. And we hired Jen Nixon to handle women's sports. It was a great day for our women's sports to have somebody on them full time because, frankly, football and basketball travel took up a lot of my time, and we needed that. My boss, the one and only Billy Pickard, took on facilities as part of his scope at that time. He taught me a lot. I wish he were here tonight to say, well, well, Fish Jones. I worked for him 9 years. He always called me Fish Jones. Most importantly, though, he introduced me to the world of sports equipment, footwear, and apparel, and the people who were influencers. After working with suppliers on several different projects, flak jackets on Curtis Sticky, who I saw here earlier tonight, we did the prototype on him. As a wishbone halfback, he took some pretty good shots. We also worked on spring steel shoe plates for turf toe, which we were on that good old hard AstroTurf out there, and special thigh pads for someone named George Woodard, who you're going to meet in a little bit. George's thighs, when he was playing for us, were 32 inches each. There wasn't a stock thigh pad to fit that young man, or as I think our coach called him, a rolling ball of butcher knives. So, anyway, I took a chance and shifted my career to the supplier side to work on product. It was the second best decision Andy and I ever made, although leaving Aggieland was not easy for us. But it was still focused on the athlete and helping the athlete to perform at their best, which is what I love to do. After 8+ years with Adidas and a few other brands I represented as a manufacturer's rep, I was and working with A&M at that time, who was an Adidas school. I was asked to join Nike in 1990 when the company was approaching $2 billion. And my career progressed. I started traveling the world, which was an education unto itself. Nike eclipsed $20 billion before I retired in 2009 at age 55, which was a personal goal. I flunked retirement. But we had a home in Austin at that time, behind the orange curtain, we used to say. And we were spending more and more time here in Bryan College Station and in Aggieland. That led to a move here to Traditions with many other old Aggs, several of whom are here tonight, and I'm honored by your presence. With season tickets to 5 sports and Letterman's access to the rest, we have zero spare time. In closing, I want to acknowledge Wally and Patty Groff and Penny and Clark King as well. Wally was a true mentor to me. He taught me so much about managing people and budgets. Penny made sure we got paid and became a great friend to Andy. Both couples shared many a one-pot dinner together since my $10,000 a year salary didn't go too far. Clark was in grad school at the time. Texas A&M and all the Aggies I've been fortunate to know have had a great impact on our life. As I usually say when I get a chance to speak with the students, I'm really glad that all it took to get into A&M in 1972 was a legible application and a check that would clear the bank. I wish you all safe travels, have a great evening, and beat the hell out of Louisiana Monroe.